Welcome to the PDX files. Each week we dive into the weird and the unexplained here in the Pacific Northwest and beyond. My name is Peej.
And I'm Mac.
Mac, what are we talking about today?
I mean, if you pay any attention to the UFO UAP phenomenon or believe in any of that at all, or go sort of back to 2017 and sort of like the sort of reintroduction of this topic, we're looking at a classic. Now it's it's the Tic Tac. As the title will say, it's a modern American UFO UAP lore, and it's really restarted the whole discussion across so many different areas. Like we've had congressional hearings about this, and people who are involved, very credible people, and even now, to an extent, if you look up a little bit of it, there's been even some shadow thrown on that, but it's too far out there. You can't deny what we've seen and what the U.S. government has released.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You're going to love this.
The recency of it, and to your point, and actually we had referenced this also.
Reference, but not directly gone into this subject, yes.
Well, as usual, I have not seen this video, so my responses will be authentic. Here we go.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on that thing. My God.
These 3 videos released by the Department of Defense have changed the way many people see what we can't explain.
The moment you mention UFO, immediately what comes to mind are little green men, tinfoil hats. That's not at all what we're dealing with.
We're very close. We're very close.
In 2004, off the coast of California, an F-18 Super Hornet training
I still can't see anything.
Interrupted by a call over the radio that would come to define Commander David Fravor's career.
You know, there's certain things in your life where you just remember in vivid detail what happened. That's one of them, because it's honestly the strangest, most obscure thing I've ever seen flying.
Fravor, the commanding officer of the Navy's Strike Fighter Squadron 41, and another F-18 scrambled to check out an unusual radar blip 80 miles off the coast.
So as we're looking around, the backseater in the other airplane comes up and says, "Hey, Skipper, do you see?" And before he says it, I'm like, "Dude, do you see that?" As soon as we look down, we see the white water, and then we see this little white Tic Tac. It's pointing north-south, and it's just going forward, back, left, right.
It's just bouncing around?
Yeah, like a ping pong ball.
What was its shape? What was its... what did it look like it was made out of?
Like a perfectly smooth white Tic Tac. Or for people that need a bigger visualization, a giant propane tank.
Fravor says the F-18s began circling, Fravor at 20,000 feet, and the so-called Tic Tac only about 50 feet above the surface of the water.
And I say, "Hey, I'm going to go check this thing out." And the other pilot stays and says, "Hey, I'm going to stay up high." And then it starts coming up at us. We call it 2-circle fight, but it's coming up. I'm coming down. So it literally is aware we're there. There's no doubt, because it mirrored me. So here it is. I cut across and I get to about half mile of it, so I'm about halfway across the circle. So it gets in front of me. It just goes poof and it's gone. And it's gone like that fast.
What do you mean poof, it's gone?
I mean exactly that. Like it's 1 minute it's there and the next second it's like magic trick. So I asked the other airplane, I said, "Hey, do you guys see that?" And they're like, "It's gone. It just disappeared."
When you saw this,
and they're like, "It's gone. It just disappeared."
I mean, just thinking about that for a second, I didn't know that when you were flying a fighter jet, you had to go to like attack something or you have to go around and around. But I guess it kind of makes sense,
right?
From like a gravity perspective, physics perspective, you can't just they do in the movies. It actually doesn't work that way. But for it to just vanish and this guy is he's like a Top Gun, basically like a real Top Gun, like a Tom Cruise Top Gun, but an actual Top Gun. He was recognizes these anomalies as they kind of see them. And so to me, this has been one of the most impressive kind of sightings, but also been some of the most attacked sightings over the last several years.
Attacked for its credibility or lack of credibility, or
no, not lack of credibility. It's like, well, it was the U.S. doing these things. It was like Northrop Grumman, or it was Lockheed Martin, one of those kind of companies. Oh, this was one of those, and that's impossible
Gas.
unless it was reverse engineered from some sort of other alien technology, which we have not shown any propensity to actually be able to do very effectively. So we can't just make things out of alien tech. And what this did, again, if you're going to listen to it, is that it was going underwater at a speed that is impossible, and then
Right.
comes out of the water, and then it vanishes as we get into this a little bit sooner. But it's it's not possible for the technology that we have
Not for
unless you've been able to successfully do it, I guess.
not for the technology that we have that we're aware of.
True.
And, and I believe I already voiced it in another previous episode where I don't know and I don't trust what governments are doing really behind our backs, keeping secrets to who knows, perhaps to what you were saying in terms of reverse engineering alien technology, whether it's us here in the US or Russia,
China and Russia, definitely big rivals in this.
and perfected it to a degree and is basically playing with it. Well, again, I'm not counting us out either. I'm not counting the US, playing with it just to see how it works, not letting anybody know, including the Navy, and just because they also want to be able to see real-time interaction. I'm not putting that at all. I'm not putting that out of the realm of possibility, just because I really don't fully trust the government.
Yeah, but that's so dangerous. Can you imagine you got a kid who's in a Top Gun or on a Navy ship or over certain protected areas for the military, and you're conducting experiments on people with reverse technology items, or what would be the better word for that? It's listening, but they have these certain activities that they're doing that it kind of puts people in danger. Assets, that was the word I was looking for. So you have assets that are outside of the realm of possibility that we currently have on a conventional level,
Right.
and you're just messing with people to just test this. That, if that is actually going on, that is really fucked up.
I'm not disagreeing that it is fucked up. However, if you're at a position where you're weighing the risks versus the rewards, the minuteness of one or two people or even 20 people or 200 people kind of goes, is blurry. You know what I mean? It's not going to be like if they say, I don't care if this kills 5 Navy people, as long as we get the results that we seek. That's the level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. I do.
Like the
The
expense.
logic makes sense, I guess, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be involved in that. God damn. That's
All right,
fucked
we'll
up.
continue here.
When you saw this kind of performance, what was the first thing that went through your mind?
What the hell was that?
Once back on the carrier, Fravor's team told the next crew what had happened, and that crew took off ready to capture something on camera. And this is what they saw.
I guess the biggest question is, what do you think it is?
I honestly don't know. I don't think that we have developed that technology. I don't think we developed it on this planet. We still, to this day, have no idea what it was, what we saw, what we chased, what we engaged. But it was pretty spectacular.
A report from that incident eventually made its way to the Pentagon, across the desk of Luis Elizondo, the former director of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program.
In essence, what that program was an investigatory body looking at what we call the UAP, probably in the vernacular, it's better known as the UFO phenomenon. The bottom line here is that over the past several decades, we in the Department of Defense and the intelligence community have been noticing things in our airspace that don't have wings, they don't have cockpits, they don't have even an obvious sign of propulsion like an engine, and yet still they're able to defy the natural effects of Earth's gravity.
In 2020, the Pentagon declassified 3 videos, the Tic Tac video and 2 others filmed on the East Coast in January of 2015. Other countries have made similar public disclosures. Also in 2004, the Mexican Air Force confirmed this video was shot by one of their pilots near the coast of Baja California. In 2014, the helicopter from the Chilean Navy locked onto an unidentified object emitting what appeared to be some sort of gas or vapor. Both governments have said they investigated but couldn't determine what the objects were.
I mean, it shows that, again, I think a friend of ours is very skeptical about this particular subject. And
Who shall remain nameless.
yeah, and it's like, well, it only happens in the US, but actually this is happening all across the world. It's not just a US kind of thing. And now, it could be that there is a reverse engineering and sharing of tech with allies, right? That they've kind of done to a lesser extent, maybe not the full extent that the actual UAP or UFO phenomenon has examined or has explained and really looked at. And it's certainly possible that it is a military kind of solution, but and I feel like back in 2004, I don't think that they had that kind of technology. I mean, maybe now they do to be able to like sort of replicate it to a certain extent, but certainly not in those days because they were denying that it ever even existed for like since 1969. They were just like, oh, UFOs are fake, UAPs, whatever you want to call it, are fake, and so to now. And then even in 2004, when this came out, some of this footage came out, they still didn't have the ability to like admit it. So it just seems unlikely to me that we have this technology as part of like a program that was like, oh, it was ours until much later on. And maybe we do now. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I think the fact that you're focusing on it happening in 2004 is well placed. The iPhone, I was just Googling, did not come out until 2007. So, from a technology level technology standpoint, it's definitely improbable that it's something that we, as in humanity, developed on our own.
Yep.
That it's more probable to be extraterrestrial, and its movements, it's I don't know, I guess the fact that we were able to capture it videographically, or not we, but people were able to capture it, get evidence. It's curious. It's almost like they wanted to be seen.
Yes, exactly. Like they could have avoided us at any moment if they wanted to. They probably have the ability to. I want to use like cloaking device, but if they have that type of technology, they could have easily been not seen. But I think they're trying to be seen
Right.
as much as they can, and it seems like it keeps like happening over and over again over the years, which is kind of interesting because I've heard some people say, "Well, this has only happened back in the like the 1960s. We haven't seen anything." No, that's nonsense. There's been extremely good evidence for this happening, even beyond that. So it leads me to the kind of, okay, is it human, us in the future, just like trolling us? Or is it a race or 2 or 3 that's just trying to say, hey, you know what? You should probably be thinking about this before you start firing off your nukes. It's certainly a possibility the way I look at it.
Yeah, and I know we talked about in a previous episode in terms of what will happen if this disclosure is
Right.
the government, but yeah, it's interesting. But let's see, let's continue here.
To those like science writer Sarah Scholes, clipped black and white videos always leave a lot to the imagination.
To me, the most interesting thing about the videos is how little information is in them. All we have are these, 30 seconds or a minute of something totally decontextualized. And so everybody kind of gets to think whatever they want to think about them because we don't actually have enough information to form any kind of conclusion, which is UFO's favorite space to live in, the muddy, fuzzy space.
But will 2021 be the year all of that changes because of COVID-19?
Hidden among the many pages of the COVID-19 bill is this mandate to produce a report on unidentified aerial phenomena. What's different this time is that the military is kind of talking about them very
That's been going on for a while.
threats. It's not like the Pentagon's deal to call things aliens, but that's kind of the angle they're coming from.
If there is a foreign adversary, let's say Russian or China or anybody else, who happens to have this technology and they've had it for decades, and we in the United States have somehow been strategically leapfrogged in our technology, we've got a big problem on our hands.
Yeah.
Officially, the clause attached to December's COVID-19 relief bill, added by the Senate Intelligence Committee, calls for the military and FBI to brief committee members on what they know about UAPs within 180 days of the bill's passing. The kind of top-level briefings Elizondo says he's given before.
The three options are, is it our technology? Is it foreign adversarial technology or someone else's technology? Or is it something completely different? Where
Actually, I'll resume here.
99% sure it's not foreign adversarial technology. So that only leaves really one other option. It's someone or something else.
Are these three videos the only videos that you know of that the United States government has that shows unidentified aerial
A
phenomena?
lot more, yeah.
Well, absolutely not. These are probably some of the least compelling videos. Some cases, you know, we've seen these things 50 feet away from the cockpit.
And when you're talking about something that is 50 feet away, I mean, what could they tell from being 50 feet away?
With all due respect, Gotti, I no longer work for the United States government in that capacity. So I want to be clear that I don't want to speak on behalf of the U.S. government. And I also want to give the government time to do what it needs to do regarding this data.
But in science, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
If the UFO field wants to be taken more seriously by scientists, I think they will kind of have to move away from the types of evidence that have historically been held up as adequate, like individual sightings, because the scientists can't really do anything with the story. They need data.
Look, I'm not a UFO guy. My background, I'm a former counterintelligence special agent. I was asked to do a job, which I did. However, it was my understanding and the conclusions that I came to, and by the way, every other person in the program unanimously came to the realization that these things are indeed real.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Elizondo to a certain extent. It's like you gotta have to look at the overall evidence and clearance that you have into an access into a program. But I mean, if you just look at it outside of that, I think just the prosaic explanations that they give for everyday people, including very credible witnesses, are so ridiculous still after all these years, that I don't think you can just say, oh yeah, well, you know, it could be some adversary. I mean, as far as I know, the Russians, the Germans, the Americans, the English, whoever back in World War II didn't have the ability to do a Foo Fighter type mission.
Right.
They had certain technology, right? And so this has been going on for so many years. Like if this just happened like the last 40 years, I can understand what that guy is saying. Elizondo is like, but also at the same time, his background is in counterintelligence. He's not like necessarily a trustworthy kind of guy. And so I take what he says with a grain of salt. I do believe that they're giving us like a small a view into kind of what they know, but they're not willing to let us know what they know yet. And there will be some point where they have to. Like, is it going to be a an Independence Day type of activity where we see them coming to the skies at the last minute, and the president's watching on TV and learns about it there? I don't think so.
That's for dramatic purposes.
Right. I mean, that's amazing if that's actually how it's going to happen, and kind of disturbing at the same time. No, I mean, I think they're like bleeding out a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and admitting things because they have to, because the people who are involved in it are speaking out about it. So, but they also have to sort of control the narrative, if that makes any sense.
It does. So a couple of thoughts on my end. One, Elizondo revealing or clarifying that he's not a UFO guy, he's a counterintelligence guy. That actually, to me, is actually makes him more credible for me because then he's viewing things from a pragmatic standpoint. He's like
Right.
not trying to find the pattern just because he wants to find the pattern. He found the pattern accidentally, in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was looking at it from like, 30,000, 50,000 foot level. So I would definitely trust what Elizondo's saying in that sense. Two, um, if if it were um if it since because again this happened in 2004, even though the pictures are grainy, etc. And I don't know without googling it and
And the worst photos that they're showing us, that they have much better, I'm sure that they do.
and the thing that the point I was going to make is that now especially, and I know this video was back in 2021, but now especially where chat GPT and all of these AI tools that are just making videos that look so freaking convincingly real. To me, it's almost like we need to like double, triple, quadruple our discernment ability for what's real and what's make believe. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like I don't want to trust anything that I see anymore nowadays. If that
Yeah, I mean, there's some sort of political piece of that as well, but I think that honestly, if you look at it, they do such a good job of making things look real. People who want to do that, who have the resources to do it,
yeah,
and I don't think it's always necessarily nefarious, but it muddies the waters.
it
But I
does.
mean, if I always sort of feel, I see some videos online, like there's no way in hell that's real.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
you just have to sort of like use a critical thinking kind of perspective, which we've talked about in a different conversation. But it's like, do people not have the ability to do that anymore, or are they so convinced of a conspiracy theory? I don't think this is a conspiracy theory. I think this is actually something that they had to reveal because of the people who were so credible behind the stories. And there's even more than it shows here. It's not just the guy, David Fravor. There's other people.
I mean, if we have not if, but because we have technology that could detect near Earth objects already now, it almost seems to me that yeah, it's like okay, fine, UFOs, you come visit, da 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 da. It's almost like what the U.S. government and or world governments really need to focus on is strengthening our detection of NEOs, right? So that way we don't have the oh my God, they're just now coming through the clouds, Independence Day style UFOs. We will have detected them well before that. And actually, now that I think about it, I think there was a point in that movie. I know it's fiction, where I think that like the U.S. government saw like radar, like that,
Yeah,
far
it
away.
saw that it was coming, but it wasn't that much.
Yeah, there was no
Uh,
fanfare and there was no prep.
yeah, in advance. And even now they're talking about like in 2032, this will have to be maybe a separate video that we sort of go into, but and a really big asteroid hitting the moon
Ooh.
of all places.
Wait, 2030.
The 2032, yeah. Which you can imagine if you get something like a major impact there, it's going to impact us too at some point. So it's not just hit something hitting the earth, the dinosaur style. It's like it could hit our moon and cause a lot of damage.
Well, I hope it doesn't happen tonight because I still need to edit.
Tonight we're good. We're good.
I still need to edit this video and upload it at some point. But folks,
Yeah,
if you enjoyed this content, please give it a like and share it across your socials to help get the word out about our show. If you hadn't already done so, please subscribe, and on YouTube, hit that notification bell to make sure that you don't miss out on future episodes. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.